Hello, welcome back. If you're new here, my name's Victoria. I'm a mum of 5 in the UK. On this channel I do home education, homemaking, low income living and the occasional charity shop haul. All my unfiltered large family vlogs are now on Patreon, which I'll link below if you're interested. And I also blog about home education and random other stuff on Facebook and Instagram as Home Educating the Mad Lads. What I want to talk about today is how frugality, living frugally, has made me rich. And I don't mean rich as in monetary, I mean rich as in the quality of life and the things, and being enabled to have the things and the times that are important to me that make my life rich. I say this with no judgment whatsoever. I have a friend, she's my oldest friend, and she has 2 children, and she said that she cannot afford to stay at home. She has to go to work. And don't get me wrong, some women don't have a choice, they have to go to work. But when we was discussing it, it was things like she needs to have a second car, and she needs to go on meals out and nights out and be able to do this, that and t'other. And like I say, no judgment whatsoever. It's just they're the things that make her life rich, that make her life enjoyable for her. Now, I'm not exaggerating when I say this. I would rather live in a shed and be with my kids than have to leave them. And being frugal has enabled me to stay at home. I've got like a mini job. I am the bar manager at the local village hall, but it's a 0-hour contract and I only work if somebody books a bar for a wedding or a christening. So like for instance, I've worked twice this week, but sometimes I don't work for months on end, and sometimes I work 2-3 times a week. So it's a very, very minimal job. But I've been able to stay at home. I was going to say by sacrifice, but I don't think of it as sacrifice because I've never been that bothered about new clothes. I've always been a bit of apart from my Hell Bunny I can't talk today. Apart from my Hell Bunny dresses in summer, I've always been a bit of a scruff bag. I'm not bothered about new clothes. Second-hand clothes are good enough for me, and second-hand clothes are good enough for my kids because you can get some really nice things from charity shops. I'm not bothered about going on shopping sprees. I'm not bothered about we haven't even got 1 car in my 2 cars. I'm not bothered about going out for meals or buying cups of coffee or nights out, because I don't go into beauty salons. I don't think giving up those things is a sacrifice, because what I am getting in exchange for being frugal is something so much more. I've never had to drop my kids off at a daycare. I've been there for every single milestone, every single sleepless night, every single happy time, their first crawls, their first walks, their first giggles. I've been there for all of it, the good, the bad and the blowout nappies. I've been there for the lot. And having older kids and smaller kids now, because I have those older kids, I realise just how fast it goes and how precious it is, and how this is your one shot, because you're never going to get this opportunity to be with them as kids ever again. You've got this one shot to be with them as kids. And I remember how, I wasn't home educated like my kids are home educated, but I remember how reassuring it was knowing my mum was at home when I was going to be at home. I was never a latchkey kid. And I remember how she was available. Once I wet myself at school, I'd have been at infant school, and because my mum was at home, the school rung my mum and she come up instantly within about 10 minutes with these trousers, new trousers for me. And I just remember just having that constant reassurance that my mum was about and my mum was available. And I want to be that for my kids. And I would very, very, I couldn't know what I'm saying here. I would, every single time, I would trade those things that cost money off for being with my kids. It's like the other day, it was really, really sunny. And just being able to go out and spend all day outside with my kids. They didn't have to go to school. I didn't have to go to work. We could just go and enjoy the sunshine and enjoy being outside and enjoy having time together. So that's made me rich. Being able to be with my children has made me rich. Same as I've never had to look at them and think, are they telling the truth or not about being poorly? I really have to go to work. I'm going to have to cowpole them up and send them to school or send them to nursery and hope that they're not actually ill because I need to go to work. And my kids have never been bundled off like that because they're poorly. I've been able to stay at home with them if they're poorly. And then if they are genuinely poorly, they haven't had to have been moved here, there and everywhere while we ascertain if they're actually poorly or not. And they've been able to stay at home with me where it's comforting and where I can look after them. And there's a lot of people moan about being a stay-at-home mum. Perhaps this is another video entirely, but there's a lot of freedom in being a stay-at-home mum. If I'm not very well, we can take it easy. If they're not very well, we can take it easy. If it's nice weather, we can go out. If it's rainy weather, we can stay inside. There's a lot of freedom, and there's a lot of living with the seasons and living with how we feel in his mind and his bodies without having to live by somebody else's schedule and live our lives serving other people. Or I never see my kids because I'm at work, working for somebody else who would replace me in a heartbeat if I dropped dead at that factory machine. The place where I'm most important and the place where I'm making the most important work is at home, nourishing my children's minds, hearts and bodies. And that is most important to me. And being able to do that is what makes me rich. I would give up any material things if it meant I could be with my children. I was the second youngest pub landlady in the country when I was 19 years old. I have worked, and when my children are grown up, which will be in the blink of an eye, I will work. And even when I was at work before I had kids, I used to measure hours at work as in time. I used to measure the money in hours of my life, so I wouldn't overwork, because having just enough money for bills and being able to be at home even before I had kids was what I wanted. I work to live, not live to work, and I'll be the same after I've had kids. Looking after my money and my pennies so I don't have to be a workhorse is a rich life to me. Having time to do what I want to do is a rich life to me, even without kids. So, being frugal, some people think sacrifice. I don't think it's a sacrifice. I think it's a worthy trade-off for myself. And I'm sorry I've stuttered a bit in this one. It's been all go all day. I've only managed to film this because the kids are in the garden with their friend and the husband's about. So yeah, sorry about that. Please subscribe. I'll see you next time.